be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Friday, September 9th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. When Chris Bumstead released this post a few days ago, it read with the caption, "Had to join on the fun." And when I read that, the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that he won 3 consecutive Olympia titles. Because if he wasn't having fun, well, then I guess everyone else must be miserable. All things considered, as far as his training is concerned, this is probably the heaviest we've seen Chris train in the early stages of his prep. In the past, when we've seen him stay consistent with the heavy weights right up to the show, it always gave him a cleaner look, which has worked out pretty well for him up to this point. So you'd imagine that he's probably factoring that into the equation here as well. But on the flip side, there was always a point where Chris found himself dealing with a handful of injuries too. So that's also something to keep in mind as we get closer to the show, because being healthy enough to train like this is a major factor. But if he keeps this pace up and stays on the right side of the injury bug, there's a strong contingent of people out there who think he's pretty much unbeatable. Now, if you were paying attention, you probably noticed that I said some people think Chris is, well, pretty much unbeatable. But there are a handful of others out there who believe it's only a matter of time before we see one of those Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman situations in classic physique with someone like Ramon Dino, who finally breaks through and never looks back. If you saw the update that Ramon's team released a few days ago, and you're being objective, then you probably agree with me on the fact that right now he looks more impressive than any of the other top guys who we consider to be title contenders this year. Obviously, we still have a long way to go, but that doesn't mean you can discount what we're seeing right now, because it definitely counts for something. And in 15 weeks, if he does end up being the one who changes the course of history in the division, let's not completely be surprised, because it's not like you couldn't see it coming. If you haven't checked out the list of names that are already qualified for the Open Olympia this year, it's probably worth a quick Google search, because on paper, the level of talent from top to bottom is absolutely ridiculous. But at least for the moment, one name that you won't find on that list is Steve Kuclo, who still looks like he might be in the hunt to secure a qualification to the big dance. Steve was the featured guest poser last weekend at the NPC Iron House Classic, and I think the general takeaway from everyone in the building was that the King Snake is right on the money. As far as we know, Steve hasn't made any official statement about whether or not he's planning to compete again soon, but based on the current level of conditioning, it definitely looks like he's trending in that direction. He's been right there knocking on the door the last 2 or 3 times that we've seen him, and more often than not, when someone gets that close, it's only a matter of time before they seal the deal. On yesterday's show, when we were talking about the Romania Pro, we may or may not have invented the term super duper dark horse. The internet still hasn't verified whether or not we were the first ones to say it. So for now, we're claiming it, and we're using it again because Mark Hector has to be somebody's super duper dark horse heading into the Arnold UK. The updates that we've seen from Mark's camp this week have been nuts, because all of a sudden, it's like he turned the corner and kicked things into another gear. In the gym, he looks like he has the size and shape to give everyone on the top of this lineup a run for their money. And if this translates over to the stage, he's going to make things in that first call out all sorts of interesting. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.